Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Shepherd and Saida, and we're going to do your study guide number 3, questions 7 through 11. I hope it helps.
Miss Ingoglia baked 100 cupcakes one morning. She used 63 ounces of frosting to decorate the cupcakes. If each cupcake had the same amount of frosting, how much frosting did Mrs. Ingoglia put on each cupcake? So in this problem, we would be using division because the problem has keywords like each and the same amount. So in this case, we would be starting off like this. It doesn't matter if the dividend is smaller than the divisor because you could add a decimal point to it like that. $100 goes into 636 times. You could do it that way, or you could do it like this. Mr. Dog.
Kerry uses shipping boxes to mail 850 bags of glass beads. Each box can hold 24 bags. If she fills each box, how many bags of glass beads will be left for the last box?
So I know I have 850 bags of beads, and I know that each box can hold 24 bags. So I want to make groups of 24 because each time I do that, I know that I'll have one box. So I'm going to divide this by 24, and I know that I'll end up finding out the number of boxes I have filled with 24 bags each. If I have a leftover, they're going to be leftover bags. So if she fills each box, that shouldn't say files, it's supposed to be fills. If she fills each box, how many bags of glass beads will be left for the last box? So if I have a remainder, they're going to be bags. And I know those will be the leftover that the question is talking about for the last box. So I'm going to go ahead and start dividing. I know I need a guess and check area. I know that 24 does not go into 8. I can't take 8 hundreds and split them 24 ways. So I'm going to decompose them and make 85 tens out of that. So I know that 24 times 2 gives me 48. That's not enough. Let me see what happens if I do 24 times 3. That's 72. That looks just right. When I do this subtraction, I end up with 13 tens left. I'm going to bring down my 0. So now I need to know how many groups of 24 I can make out of 130 bags of beads. Let me just erase a little bit. Normally I like to leave all my guess and checks because sometimes I use that multiplication problem once and it comes in handy another time. So normally I don't recommend erasing those, but I'm a little short on space here. So I know that 3 times 24 gave me 72, so I'm going to try 6 of them. That gives me 144. That's too much. Alright, so 5 gives me 120 bags of beads. When I subtract, I get 10 left, and I know they're my leftover bags. So if she fills each box, and I know that's 35 boxes that are full, there's leftover bags that are not going in a full box. But I'm going to get an extra box for them. I'm just only going to include 10 bags. So to answer the question, if she fills each box, how many bags of glass beads will be left for the last box? That would be 10. Question 9. A restaurant uses 64 potatoes for each batch of potato soup. About how many batches of soup can the restaurant make from 1,325 potatoes? So I know I'm taking the potatoes, and my goal is to divide them 64 ways, because each time I gather up 64 potatoes, I'm able to make one batch of potato soup. So my quotient is going to be how many batches I can make from these potatoes. Now this question asks me to estimate. So when I do estimation, I have to be careful because I'm not supposed to be doing the work and then rounding an answer. I'm supposed to round the numbers in the question so that I can do the work in my head. So I know that I love zeros. We do love zeros. So I'm going to change my divisor to 60. Now here's where I have to be a little creative. I need for my number as in my dividend to be something I get to when I count by 60s. And I see this number starts with 13, and that is not in the 6 times tables. So I'm going to change my quotient to 12 because I know 6 and 12 are really compatible. They like each other. So I'm going to change this to 1,200, which is close to the dividend that I have, the actual dividend that I have. So when I do this work, I can see that 60 goes into 120 20 times, 2 times, and then I just want to check this, that 60 times 20 gives me 1,200. I know 6 times 2 is 12. And I should have 2 zeros, so I know that answer is correct. The biggest mistake students make is putting the wrong number of zeros in the quotient when they're doing estimation. The other thing you have to remember is when you're rounding the dividend, make sure you choose a number that's compatible with your divisor. Question 10. The local concert hall has 48 concerts scheduled this season. The total amount of tickets are 4,560. Each concert has the same amount of tickets available for sale. How many tickets are available for each concert? So I know that I have 560 tickets, and I have 48 concerts. So that means I'm sharing the 4,560 tickets with each of those concerts. Now there's 48 of them, so I would have to continue here till I drew 48 little boxes, and the answer would be how many tickets were in one box. So when numbers start to get large, it's really difficult to draw pictures. But we can get our picture started so we recognize what we're dividing and what we're trying to find. So now I can go ahead and begin my division problem because I know I'm going to be dividing that big dividend by 48 to find the number of tickets available for each of those concerts. So I'm going to head and divide this by 48. Okay, and this is a 5. I have to be sure I remember that. I've got a guess and check area over here because I don't know the 48 times tables. I know that I can't divide 4,000s 48 ways. If I decompose that and make them 4,500s, I still can't share those 48 ways. So I need to decompose all the way down to the tens place. I have 456 tens that I can share 48 ways. So I know that 48 times 10 would be 480, and that's pretty close to the number I'm looking for. So I'm going to go for a 9 and see how that works out for me. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 4 is 36. Add on 7 more, and we have 43. That looks like it's going to work out just perfect. So we're going to subtract 432. 6 take away 2, 5 take away 3. Bring down my 0. Alright, so 240 is about half of what I did when I multiplied by 9. So I'm going to try 4 and see how that works out. 8 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. That gives me 192. I'm not convinced that's as close as I can get, so I'm going to try one more. 8 times 5 gives me 40. 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 4 more is 24, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. I don't have any remaining tickets to worry about. So how many tickets are available for each concert? 95 tickets. Make sure that you're showing your answer with some words, because when we are working on a word problem, our answers also need to be in words. And finally, question 11. Brody can buy a pack of Pokemon cards that contains 12 cards for $5.40, or he can buy a pack of 48 cards for $19.20. Brody wants to buy the pack of Pokemon cards that is the better deal. Usually when we're looking for a better deal, it's because we want to pay less, but we want to pay less for each item we're buying. Sometimes we spend more money just to get a lower price for each item we're buying. So which pack should he buy? And of course you're going to explain your answer. So let's take a couple of notes here. We know that he's getting 12 cards for $5.40, and he can buy 48 cards for $19.20. But in either of these situations, I don't actually know how much Brody is paying for each card. So that's my goal. I need to figure that out. So for the first one, I need to share the $5.40 12 ways. So each of the cards is getting a little bit of that money. So that's the same as doing 540, and of course those are dollars, divided by 12. Okay, remember with decimal division, you're going to pop that decimal right up into the quotient. Since I have no decimal here in the divisor, I can just go ahead and pop the decimal right up there. I know that 12 is not going to go into 5, but it will go into 54 4 times, and I just happen to know that 12 times 4 is 48, but if you didn't know that, you just go ahead and make a guess and check column for yourself. So that would be 48, and I'm going to have 6 left over. I bring down that 0. I also happen to know that 12 times 5 gives me 60, but if you didn't know, you go ahead and guess and check. And I have nothing left over. So in the first scenario, he's paying 45 cents for each of those cards. I'm just going to take away this work. Okay, now I need to check the second scenario and see how much Brody would be paying for each of those cards. He has to buy more of them, but it may be a better deal. This time, he's sharing $19.20 with each of the 48 cards. Remember to pop your decimal right up there. You need to be sure you're very neat, because when you bring the decimal up, you want to make sure it goes in the right place, creates the right place values. Because I know that 48 doesn't go into 1 or 9, so I'm looking for 192. Okay, I'm going to guess and check over to the side, and I'm thinking that 48 is fairly close to 50, and 192 is pretty close to 200. So that would be about 4 times. So let's go ahead and try that. 8 times 4 is 32, 4 times 4 is 16, and when I add 3 more on, I get 19, and that's exactly what I wanted. Now since I have no remainder, but I still have an open spot and a 0 I didn't bring down, I need to continue. 48 obviously can't go into 0. I can't share 0 48 ways, so I put a 0 up into my quotient. So in the second scenario, even though Brody would be paying more, he's actually paying less money per card. So that's the better deal. He's getting the cards for a little bit cheaper because he's buying so many of them. So if he has $19, he may as well buy 48 cards. All right, the secret code for this video is unicorns. Write that down on a sticky note and bring it to me in the morning, and you'll get some Pride tickets. Okay, happy studying!